Today I'm going to talk you through the evolving affiliate model for today's clients. Hopefully you'll all find this really interesting. Unfortunately there will be no prizes, but the plus side is I'm talking about technology. So. Brilliant. So I wanted to start my presentation with quite an interesting quote from Charles Darwin. In the struggle for survival, the fittest win out at the expense of their rivals because they succeed in adapting themselves best to their environment. And I really do believe that this is something that we can all think about in terms of affiliate marketing. Nowadays, as was mentioned earlier on today, we are in the middle of a recession. People are having to fight harder for new customers coming on board. We all know that online is going to continue to grow, but I definitely feel that there is an emphasis for us to be smarter about the way that we're delivering for consumers, for affiliate partners. So it's about being able to engage and channel that information. What I'd like to do first is just start you all off with a brief history on affiliate marketing. Please don't fall asleep. It's just going to go through where we've come from to where we are today. I think this is quite relevant, and I think sometimes we tend to forget that this has grown from what was quite a small industry to a huge industry today. So the first generation of affiliate marketing came in the form of get paid to programs, and these were established by and large by the adult entertainment industry, which is a huge innovator out there. If you're looking on it for research purposes, that's fine. It was one of the first ways that they brought around the get paid to program, which was mainly driven by content sites. This was then picked up by CD Wow, who had music content sites who were able to do reviews on different programs, and were able then to buy and purchase the albums that they were reviewing. It was then obviously picked up by Amazon, which I'm sure many of you are aware of, in '96. This was predominantly through their books. It was an associate program which was granted a patent in 2000. Now, Tradedoubler was established in '99 from the UK's perspective, but looking at this more from a global perspective, this is when Amazon really came to light. By 2006, the industry was, in terms of US dollars, 6.5 billion worldwide, and that's a huge amount. And in such a short space of time, to come from just a few content sites driving traffic to in 2006 having that amount of revenue being driven, just goes to show you the evolution process that has taken place for all of us. And I think it's important to use that as your standing point. From there, what we started to see, particularly in the American landscape, is that there was a number of tracking technology companies who evolved and emerged from this marketplace. The ultimate aim and objective of this was literally to tap into optimization of traffic, understanding more about your data, finding out different ways of working with partners. And this is something which, the question I would really like to ask is if Europe is following suit on that. The markets that I'd like to focus on, in particular, the UK, Germany and France. The reason I picked these markets is they are, by and large, known as the most mature markets in Europe. Across these markets, all are predicted to grow between now and 2016. I'll go into that in a little bit more detail. So, how are we seeing technology being used across these markets? At the moment, what we're seeing is that the top tier of performance marketing is now being used on an in-house tracking technology. So that means that your top partners are now being worked with directly with the advertiser or the agency, and they're focusing and optimizing that growth that's being performed there. What then happens is that the mid and long tail of that program is being worked on with the network. So it's an ongoing evolution process from what I mentioned earlier. You're starting to see teams like Andrew's team, as he was talking about earlier, finding new and innovative ways for us to work. But the top tier now is being taken care of directly by the advertiser or by the agencies. So you end up with something which is a little bit like an affiliate onion. There are many different layers now to your affiliate program. It's no longer just a typical network relationship with working with a client and then working with affiliates. It's now got so many different layers to it, and it's really becoming a complex thing in itself. You've got tracking solutions out there, to report and measure the performance. The private network, which is what I mentioned in regards to working with those top partners on your programs. And then obviously the public network plugging into that as well, which is all comprising into this. It's definitely something that we're seeing growth in across all of the three key markets that I've mentioned. So the potential that you can use different groups in this is endless as well. As a test bed, it's becoming much more prevalent. We're seeing nowadays that people are tending to test, for example, with mobile or social on the technology platform before they release that on a public basis, which means they can select a few particular partners to work with and ensure that they can understand the user journey, understand what's driving the traffic for that particular sector. I think that's a really important thing to consider, is that you can pick any one of these areas, and I'm sure there's more out there as well. I really like this slide. This was Andrew's slide that I stole from my own presentation, but it is quite a relevant point that, from this affiliate playground, you can really start playing around on a personal level with these guys. So, market trends in these markets. Definitely an increased trend towards merchants and agencies running their own affiliate marketing programs. We are seeing that a lot more, and I think we need to be realistic about that. But also publishers as well, who are looking to optimize their traffic and ensure they're getting the best out of their spend, is also becoming more popular. And I'm sure we're going to see that increase a lot more with the emergence of mobile. Third-party tracking, so agencies particularly are picking this up nowadays. They've got experts in-house who have the ability to run affiliate marketing programs if the advertiser doesn't have that. So they're now being able to power and fuel their own technologies as well. The experimentation with mobile and social is ongoing. We've heard a lot about mobile from Neil in the panel this morning. Social is also another one where we're seeing an increased amount of people testing and using different methods to test as well. It's not just Facebook. People are looking at the Twitters of this world and also new technologies and social platforms out there. And one of the key things with technology, there is a cost-saving element with using technology. You're no longer using account managers because you've got the experience to use a system like this. Now, it doesn't mean that it's a one-size-fits-all for everybody, but it's certainly something to consider if you feel you've got the necessary skill set within your company. And online sales are definitely becoming, a much more effective channel overall. So, in terms of looking at, Black Friday versus Cyber Monday, there's a lot of stats out there which suggest that the growth on Cyber Monday, which was 36% last year, is increasing again, and will increase this year. So, I'm sure we'll show that in our data that we release later on this year. So the projected growth across France, Germany, and the UK. The stats on there are in millions, not in thousands. But it just gives you an idea as to what the growth is going to be like by 2016. So for France and Germany to be looking at a 12% growth during that time means there's a huge amount of traffic which is still to be optimised and used. The UK going to see an increase of 11% between the same period. That's a huge amount which is going to be coming on. And just referencing my earlier point around the Charles Darwin quote, thinking smarter about how you're going to engage with that traffic, how you're going to be able to pull that into you is very important. And from our perspective, we definitely see that, performance marketing, performance-based activity is going to be the key driver behind this. CPA, that cost per acquisition, looking at the sale, is going to be vital. So, just looking at this overall, the key factors really to take away from this today are looking at targeting and optimization. They've become key priorities for the top 20 partners that we're working with across those three markets at the moment. Of course, mobile's not far down the list, and you're going to hear that as an ongoing thing probably throughout 2013 as well. The ability for user journey analysis and click attribution is a really interesting point. It doesn't necessarily mean that people are looking to pay out in each part of the journey, but it's good to understand what you can do to engage with those users further down the chain. How can you continue to get them to promote your product? Are they going to be disincentivized if they're not going to be rewarded? It's an ongoing thought that we've all had in the industry for a long time. It's definitely something to consider. And one last cheesy line for you all is about, you're basically building your sales force even closer to your actual brand. So enabling you to have people completely in tune with what you're doing and delivering on that basis. They're going to be the key factors moving forward. Thanks a lot, guys.